Still recovering from yesterday. So I'm going to do just a quick 30-minute informational meeting about what Reclaim is, this heroine's journey. And I have a couple slides. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then for sure would love to answer any questions anyone has. So yeah, Vanessa, thank you for asking how I'm doing. Those of you who are just jumping on, we did a beautiful in-person event for 170 women, and it was amazing. I think I'm still riding the waves of it. I slept so well last night, which was great. And yeah, I'm excited about what's coming next. I'm still sort of riding the wave. I'm sure I will crash next week, but so far so good. So I was not going to do, so Reclaim, let me just pull up the slides because I think that's always a good way to work with images and all of that good stuff. Sorry, guys, my electronic brain clearly is what's not working well today. Okay, here we go. Thank you for being patient with me. Okay, here we are. So Reclaim is a program based on the heroine's journey. And of course, the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, sort of in all of his studies, sort of determined this beautiful model of what heroes go through when they face challenge and how they overcome it and how they work through it. And of course, the hero's journey is really the basis of any great story. You know, clearly writers, movie makers often use the hero's journey as sort of the template for their story. And then in the early 90s, there was a woman named Maureen Murdoch, who said, well, wait a second. She was actually a student of Joseph Campbell's. She's like, what about the feminine process, like the heroine's journey? And Joseph Campbell, in the end, I think it sounds like supported her in the writing of her book and sort of the creation of a model of that maybe women face challenge and go through transformation differently than the masculine. And so this is what this course is based on. And I taught this course last year. It was a 6-month course. So it was actually quite a long journey. We started at the fall equinox and we went to the spring equinox. It was so powerful. It was so transformative. And it was a long haul. So I wasn't ever going to teach it again. I was like, we did it. That was powerful. But then in the teaching of Tend Her in the last 4 weeks, being with 1,100 women actually were enrolled in this course, I had a sense that it just kept coming to me. I'm like, you got to teach Reclaim again. This is the next step. And then I went away to Spain for this 5-day training, this energy training. And there I was super humbled by working with the feminine energy. I was like, no, can't do it. And then I got home and I'm like, yes, this course is really important. So as always, I usually teach courses for myself, and I don't mean that in a self-serving way. I teach them because the content and the energy is really important to my own evolution. And I know that when I'm in the depths of the work, it's really fruitful to have other people there also in the depths of the work. So we're sort of in it together. I'm definitely not a teacher who tells students what to do, but then I'm not doing it myself. Like I feel like we're going to dive into this deep end together and I'm in it with you, right? I'm swimming in there with you. So It's a 9-week online course. It's going to meet every Monday night. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of this, but some of the questions you might pose to yourself to find out, like, is this for me? I think the biggest question is, are you tired? Are you exhausted? And almost universally, probably all of us could put our hands up, but this is more of like an energetic exhaustion. And I, having journeyed through this last year and doing sort of smaller journeys around this content in this past year, what I realize is that when I go in and am reclaiming parts of myself that I've abandoned or I've ignored or I've repressed or I've rejected, when I am able to reclaim those parts and see them and work with them, my energy comes back. My energy comes back. So people have even been asking me, you just taught this big program and then you did this big event. How are you doing this? Well, I also think in the middle of that big tent event, I went away for 5 days and did this deep dive energy work and did a ton of reclamation shadow work. And that brought a lot of energy back to me. So I feel like I'm almost more resourced now than I have been in a long time. And it's because of so many of the practices that we'll be talking about and working with in this program. So there's lots of questions you can ask yourself from this slide, because certainly when we haven't reclaimed these exiled parts of us, we do often feel trapped. We feel emotionally stunted. We feel unsatisfied. But I do think the big marker is, are you tired? Like, are you dragging yourself through your day? Do you have zest for life? Do you feel energized for the life that's before you? Or do you wake up in the morning and think, oh no, I got to slog through another day. Here we go again. How am I going to make it? So some of the stuff we're going to do may help you with that. So heroine's journey, I did not come up with the term. There's a beautiful book that I often use as sort of a foundation by Maureen Murdoch. I recommend it to every woman and man, because we're talking about the rising of feminine energy in this course, but men have feminine energy as well. And in fact, in the heroine's journey last year, we had 2 men out of the 50 people in it. We had 2 men, and they were so beautiful. It was so stunning, the process they went through. But what we do in the heroine's journey, the main work is healing the wounding of the feminine. And we can see the wounding of the feminine all over the culture. We can also see the wounding of the man. Unfortunately, patriarchy has harmed all of us. It's harmed men, I think, as much as it's harmed women. But definitely our culture has focused more on masculine qualities, not men per se, but masculine qualities of action, doing, achievement, going, more control, right? Like, we've given a lot of sway to those aspects of our being. But the feminine is something that's been kind of universally rejected. And what is the feminine? The feminine it's deep, it's dark, it is wild, it's emotional, it's intuitive, it's in process. It's a lot of flow. It's a lot of unknown. It's very mysterious. There's a lot of mystery with feminine energy. And so the heroine's journey really is about, can I re-engage with all these parts of myself that I've disconnected with? And in this 9 weeks, we're going to be mostly working with reclaiming aspects of our inner feminine, but we definitely are going to work with the masculine energy as well, because the masculine energy is the container. It's sort of what holds all the feminine. And so the masculine energy is really important for us to reclaim and work with and heal. Most of us, myself included, I've seen that I hold a lot of toxic masculine in me, right? It's mine. And so working to heal and balance that is a natural part of this, because it's the yin and the yang. It's the coming together of these 2 energies. So there are 4 steps of the heroine's journey that we will work with in these 9 weeks. The first step is that we have to figure out and understand and see and embody where we have separated from our feminine, what parts of ourself we've disconnected from. It might be the intuitive part. It might be the emotional part. I mean, how many people, I met someone yesterday who said to me, I hadn't cried for years. She was in a session that I taught yesterday, and she goes, and I'm just like, I'm crying. I'm crying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, please don't apologize. It's so beautiful. You're connecting with your emotion, which is energy, which is vitality. Like, please, this is beautiful. And so often we have rejected that part of us that's really emotional because it just feels inconvenient, or people are annoyed when we show our emotion. And so we repress, we push that down. So in this course, we need to sort of see why and how we separated from our feminine. This comes out of our family of origin. It comes out of systems we've been a part of. It comes out of, just living in this very masculinized culture. So we need to sort of own and see where we've separated. And then we go in and we work with healing this rift. I think there's a rift in all of us. And a big portion of what we're going to do in this 9 weeks is something called, we're going to descend to the goddess. We're going to work with goddess. And this is where I get the most questions. They're like, what is this goddess stuff? What is this goddess stuff? So descent to the goddess, we can think of goddess energy, and before, we can go back thousands and thousands of years. There was more of goddess culture, goddess worship. That's not what we're doing here. We're working with the goddess as an archetype. And an archetype is just a pattern of energy. There are literally thousands of archetypes. This term is much more in the vernacular now, but it really came out of the work of Carl Jung. And some other archetypes we know besides the goddess are the lover archetype, the king archetype, the teacher archetype, the healer archetype, the mystic archetype, the student archetype, the child archetype, right? So there are these patterns of energy. And the beauty of archetypal work is that when we align, or when we start to work with different archetypes, it's like we plug in to that pattern of energy. And it can be really, really powerful. Now, all archetypes have light and shadow to them. So it's also really helpful for us to know that each archetype has a lot of benefit, and it also has some challenge to it. So in this course, when we think about, I'm going to plug into these different, what is the goddess archetype? It's feminine energy, right? So in this course, we're going to plug into, in this case, we're going to work through our chakra system, 7 different types of feminine energy. We're going to plug into the archetype of Durga and Lakshmi and Kali and Kuan Yin. We're going to plug into their energy as a way to reclaim that sort of quality in ourself that we have repressed, rejected, shut down, set aside. So it's a chance to really plug in deeply. And feminine energy, goddess energy, it's got so many faces. We're working with 7 aspects of it. There are literally thousands of aspects of the feminine, probably millions of aspects of the feminine, but we're just plugging into 7 here for us to do some inner self study of, can I plug into my own strength and protection? Can I plug into my own sense of abundance and pleasure? Can I plug into my ability to be fierce and revolt when I need to? Can I plug into my capacity to live from compassion and love? Can I plug into my capacity to have voice and speak truth and be creative in the world? Can I plug into my capacity to really let go and trust? Can I plug into my capacity to sort of feel the expansiveness of my nature? So that's what these sort of 6 weeks that we'll be spending on these, actually it's 7 weeks, on really connecting to this goddess archetype. And one of my favorite visions of working with goddess, there's a well-known physician named Jean Shinoda Bolen, written many beautiful books about archetypal energy. And I love this, she suggests that we think of treating the goddesses as kind of a committee. So like you're putting together your committee that's going to help you reclaim and step more into your true and authentic nature. So of this list, I don't regularly work with these 7. I regularly work with 3 of them. I have sort of 3 that are my committee that I routinely come back to over and over again, but I don't work with all 7. But when I teach this course, it's really interesting for me to plug into these different forms of the feminine. And I have major, things unfold when I'm really working with these different archetypal energies. So it's so powerful to begin to see yourself through these different energies and to learn. And there'll be some that you're like, yeah, it doesn't resonate with me. Totally okay. You know that they're not a part of your committee, which is totally, totally okay. Okay, so here are the main details. It's 9 weeks. Purposefully, it's the 9 darkest weeks of the year. It's the 9 darkest weeks. That's also why last year when we did it 6 months, we started at the fall equinox when the light starts to wane. And we ended at the spring when the light's really starting to come back. But we've condensed it into the 9 darkest weeks of the year. Why is it so useful to do this work during the 9 darkest weeks of the year? This time of the year is a time when just naturally our energy is wanting to pull in and go inside of ourselves. That's just the natural inclination for us. So it's like we're capitalizing. I mean, you could do this work in the summer for sure, but I don't actually believe it's as natural to do this work. Summer is a time where we're really pulled out and we're engaging in life and we're up late and we're taking walks and we're seeing neighbors and we're planting gardens. Winter is a time where it's naturally more silent and quiet. There's less happening. I know we've got all these holidays in there that sort of throw us off, but oh my goodness, this is the time of year to do this type of work. And having done this deep dive last year with 50 people, I heard from so many people that because they did the deep dive in the darkest weeks and months of the year, they felt so resourced going into spring and summer. So I really do believe that when we carve the time out to go in and do this deep dive work, it blossoms for us down the road. So we meet every Monday night at 6 p.m. So the main content and the exploration, which is a lot of meditation, it's a lot of going in, imagery, energetic type work internally. It's from 6 to 7. Then I always stay on, just like I did in the Tend Her program. I stay on after we're done from 7 to however long it takes to answer questions and have conversation. So, you can factor in it's going to be at least an hour every Monday night, and you might choose to stay on for the last half, or you might choose to listen to it later. It's all recorded. So even if you can't make Monday nights, you can watch those recordings when you want. You also get all the access to my yoga classes. So Tuesday morning and Saturday morning are the live classes, but again, they're recorded and they're stored on the website. Then we're going to do 3 new moon cacao ceremonies. There's 3 new moons that happen in these 9 weeks. I have been doing cacao ceremonies here at the studio for almost a year now. New moons are like prime times for us to come into community, set intention, listen, sort of work with what we desire. So we will send you cacao in the mail that you can do it at home if you want to do it with us online, or you will all have the opportunity, if you live locally, to come to the studio and be in actual community, actual circle with me, with whoever else is here, drinking cacao. And those ceremonies are, I don't have the exact dates. I do, but I don't know what they are off the top of my head. They're the new moons, and they fall different days of the week for those 3 weeks, those 3 separate times. But it's always going to be at 6 p.m. So you'll also have an opportunity to be in a small group if you want, and there will be chances to do some one-on-one work with me if that's something you want to add on. I don't have an open practice anymore, meaning I don't take on new clients anymore, but when I'm teaching programs like this, I will sometimes offer opportunities for people to do kind of some one-on-one, deeper therapeutic coaching type work if that's something that speaks to you. That is an old slide, so I'm not going to pull it up. Cost of this is, I believe, $497 is what we set it at for the 9 weeks. Plus you get all of the, let me put here in the chat box where you can go and find out more information about how to sign up for it. And then, I do want to play this last slide because I love this last idea here. Marianne Williamson, the beautiful Marianne Williamson, who's so brave and courageous, running for president. I don't know how this woman is doing it. We get to actually interview her on our podcast again tomorrow. So I get to talk to her or on Monday. So really excited to have that conversation with her. But this quote, it takes great courage to endure the sharp pain of self-discovery rather than choose to take the dull pain of unconsciousness that would last the rest of our lives. So the reason I end with this slide is that working in these realms that we will for reclaim, which is essentially working in your subconscious mind, working with your shadow, going in, reclaiming parts of yourself that you've rejected. Yeah, it's not always easy. It's not without some fear that comes up or some emotion that surfaces that we have to work through. So it definitely, it's not necessarily a cakewalk, but I feel like when we do it in community with other people, and like I said, I'm going to be in the deep end of the pool with you. When we do it in community, we have so much more courage to go there. And we do start to reclaim ourselves. We start to wake up. We start to have more energy. We start to be more ourselves, more authentic. And for me, at least, I can only speak for myself. I'd far rather go through the challenge of continuing to reclaim all this stuff in myself that I've rejected than stay in a numbed out, dull place. So if you want to jump in the deep end with me, I'd love to have you because it's way more fun when there's people jumping in. I'm doing the journey no matter what. But if you would like to join me, I would love to have you be a part of this. So Vanessa, the yoga classes, they're always online for sure. And usually if you are local and you would prefer to do them in person, we usually make that work. So it's usually not a problem to have you in the studio. So that is included in the price as well. So really, if you do the math, 9 weeks of yoga is probably about the same as just purchasing the course and also getting all the reclaim stuff as well. So yes, and you can do installments instead of all at once pay. I will, in fact, Barb, thank you for that. I will put that on, I will put that into how you sign up. I can go in there, I think, and set that up pretty easily. So I'll get that set up as well. Does anyone have, yeah, Barb is asking, thanks, Barb. What's the date? I believe that it is November 27. It starts on Monday. So we're taking next week off for Thanksgiving. So it starts Monday, November 27. So it goes Monday, November 27, 9 consecutive. Well, they're not consecutive because we're going to do the last Monday in November. We're going to do December 4, 11, and 18. Then we're going to take Monday is Christmas Day. We'll take the 25th and the following week, January 1st off. So there'll be like a 2-week hiatus, which is great because it's either a chance for people to catch up on videos they haven't watched. It's also a time for just integration because this is deep work. This is really big, deep work. So you do need integration time. You need time to like let things settle, let things simmer, let things integrate on its own, right? So I actually really like, you'll probably get some touch points with me. I'll send something out. And then we'll return after the new year, Monday, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd of January, the 29th of January. And then our last class is the first week of February, February 5. Okay. I hope that helps. Liz asked, you just got Maureen Murdoch's book. Yeah, go through it. I would read it. We'll be working with lots of components from the book, but not every chapter, not every exercise she does. So and there's 2 of them. There's the main book, The Heroine's Journey, and then there's like a workbook that is actually different. She's got different things in that workbook. So both of them are really good. But yeah, Liz, I think it would be great because we're working with 4 steps in The Heroine's Journey. They're actually, I think, according to Maureen, more like 7. But for the time limits we're doing, we're going to work with 4 of them. So yeah, dig in. Wendy, for sure, you'll have the chance to do a one-on-one session with me if you want to add that on. And then sometimes it can morph into a couple more if we get into some content that you need to flush out a little bit more. So, yep. Any other questions about this? It's so interesting. It's so interesting that I, for so many months, was sort of talking myself out of doing this. I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to be coming off this thing. No, and I just like that. It's almost like the goddess or the heroine was knocking at my door. Like, no, 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 no. This is time. This is the time. So I feel actually now that I've committed, now that I'm like, yep, I'm going back in the deep end, I actually feel really excited about it because I just know the power of this last year for these 50 people and the power for myself. I had some major shifts that happened. So it is powerful. And I've realized, I think I said this yesterday at the event to some of my groups, you can heal. I totally believe in one-on-one healing. It's why I do one-on-one work with people. It's why I've done so much work one-on-one with different practitioners and healers. But I really think we are meant to heal in community. We're meant to heal with other people. We're meant to be doing this type of work with others. And it's even something as simple. I led a group yesterday of 27 people. We did kind of this little journey, this little energetic journey. And just being in a room with 27 other people doing that journey, you go deeper and everyone's energy is supporting your process. And so even though, so this is the point. I believe we heal better in community. It doesn't mean that everybody has to know every single detail of what you're healing, but just being in community, being around other people and feeling them, just their presence allows us to access more. It doesn't mean that every single person has to know every single detail of what you're healing, but just being in community helps. So I think that's my point, is that we are meant to be in these sacred places with each other, helping each other energetically, even if we don't know every detail of everyone's healing journey, if that makes sense. Yes, Beth, Jennifer, Vanessa, Liz, everyone that's on this, love your interest. I'm going to also put in here if you have other specific questions that you just want to ask me, Betsy at heartlandyoga.com, send those off my way. We have one more week of signing up for this. So registration will be open and then it'll close the day we start the program, which is that Monday, November 27th. Okay. Thanks y'all for being here today. Any other questions before I sign off? We were almost 30 minutes exactly. Awesome. I didn't realize this, y'all, but look at what I wore today. So this shirt is actually, it's a shirt from Lissy, the musical artist Lissy. She's the song that plays at the start of the Tend Her podcast. And so this was a shirt that I got, or someone bought for me, Kate bought for me at one of Lissy's concerts. And when I got it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Durga. So the goddess Durga rides a tiger. And I don't know if Lissy actually, she's just like, it's a woman riding a tiger. But when I got it, I was like, that's Durga. And the funny thing is that I just cleaned my closet last weekend. And so, you know, when you find things that are like pushed behind other things, I found this and I was like, oh, I forgot about this. I did not even consciously make the connection that I was going to be doing this webinar today. I was just like, oh, I'm going to wear that yellow sweatshirt today. That feels right. And then as I got here, during yoga, I didn't think about it. And as I sat down and turned on the video, I was like, I'm wearing Durga today. Of course, she's the root. She's the root goddess of protection and security. So the synchronicities, I don't make this stuff up. It's crazy, but it's my Durga sweatshirt. All right. I know. And I think the slide, you're right. Durga's in there riding on tigers, right? It's crazy. Okay, everyone. I hope you have a really great Saturday and hope to see you in the program or anywhere else. Okay. Take care. Love you too, Jennifer.